Seems that it's
Well, as befits the 30th anniversary of this event, the French have put on a fine show and opened up with the Parade of Champions going back some 30 years. It's a replay of judo history. But let's get to our first fight. This is between Tokuno of Japan, and he's fighting Cyril Soyer of France, the newcomer on the international scene, against Tokuno there in the white suit. Tokuno placed second in the 99 World Championships and in fact won this Paris tournament in 97. Tokuno's been on sparkling form. He's been coming through with clean ippon throws, that's outright winning techniques, right from the start. Started off by beating Austrian with a tomoe-nage, a stomach throw, and then has been dispatching all his other opponents with very precise shoulder throws. So let's see if the Japanese, Kazuhiko Tokuno, can dispose of this Frenchman Soyer, who's getting a lot of support from his own crowd in this Bercy Stadium here in Paris. Frenchman there with the extreme left-sided grip right round the back of Tokuno. Tokuno, as we've seen earlier, is very good at dropping right through and underneath the legs of the opponent and spinning them over with his shoulder throw. Frenchman though with left side on. Well, there's a penalty there for passivity against the Japanese, and there's that opening shoulder throw attempt from the Japanese coming through on the left there. Can't finish it off. Two attempts there in quick succession. First one not so deep, second one a bit deeper, but Soyer squashed them fairly convincingly. The Japanese being a bit controlled here by the Frenchman. Very powerful grip, left-sided grip by the Frenchman in the blue suit, and some amount of kicking of legs, hooking of legs as openers for their big throws. Haven't seen too much from the Frenchman by way of big scoring techniques. It's the Japanese who've shown that throughout. You can see the home crowd there cheering on their man, Cyril Soyer, young newcomer. Tokuno seeming to have a little bit of trouble here. Tries the tomoe-nage and Soyer spins out of it, does a butterfly turn in the air, lands on his knees. No score for that one. Moment of danger there for the Frenchman as the Japanese spun underneath. That was the technique that he opened up his scoring with in round one. Huge crowd here supporting the French judo in France. Of course, a massive sport. Nearly 1 million people do it here. It's probably a bigger judo population than in Japan. So Tokuno there being controlled. Frenchman drops underneath, tries a stomach throw. Messy attempt there at a throw. His legs slid off the body of the Japanese. So at 2.5 minutes to go of this final of the under 60 kilo category, it's Tokuno just behind, Frenchman ahead with that one passivity warning, and there's that extreme left-sided grip. Can't hold that for too long without being penalised. And there's another deep grip on the belt, and Tokuno manages to break that and get round behind. So it's Tokuno coming through with the shoulder throw again. Soyer tries a leg grab off that one, but no score there. It's Japan. Tokuno ahead with that Shido against the Frenchman. Now we're going to see this shoulder throw. Now that's shoulder throw combination there, and that's the throw. Look at that, beautiful. Came in once, also tried a leg hook backwards, a Kouchigari, and then came in again, and that time he really clinched it as he spun Soyer over for the ippon. So gold medal there to Tokuno of Japan, silver to Soyer of France. Bronzes go to Soeto of Spain and Dumas of France. Electrifying start there by the young technical Japanese. Let's watch that winning technique again. He drops in, lifts him up on his body, turns, gets the roll in at the end of the throw just to make sure that the Frenchman lands on his back. Let's watch that one again. There's that right arm pull, drops underneath, wedges the Frenchman on his back. Doesn't rise too much, turns, but then he spins into the throw himself, and that's enough to make sure that Soyer lands on his back. which is the requirement for an ippon. Considerable force and speed, and largely on the back, is what gets you the ippon, or the outright winning technique. Well, a lively, clean start there. Always nice to see a good winning technique. Now we go into the women's final of the under 48 kilo category between Cuban Daniesca Carrion in the white judo suit, and against another French woman, Sarah Nichilo-Rosso. Most of this Cuban team are completely new batch, brought along by their coach, veteran coach, it has to be said. Now, Nichilo-Rosso, Sarah Nichilo-Rosso, was 7th in the Olympic Games, the last Olympic Games, 3rd in the Worlds in '99, and European champion in '98 and '99. So a veteran fighter against this newcomer, Daniesca Carrion of Cuba. Well, the Cubans picked their women by subjecting them to very rigorous physical tests to see if they've got the necessary strength and endurance. And one thing for sure, they might not have a lot of judo experience, especially if they're a new crop coming in, but they'll certainly be very fit and very strong. And there's a left-sided shoulder throw attempt by Nichilo-Rosso. Couldn't quite complete the turn. Cuban girl rode the technique there. 4 minutes fighting time for these women. Another attack there on the left from Nichilo-Rosso of France. And the Cuban is squashing the attack, pushing her shoulders down as she turns in. French girl finding it difficult to get complete turn and a lift on that inner thigh throw, the Uchimata. And back into the grip up again. Now, is it going to be some more Uchimatas from the French girl in the blue suit? Throws her leg across, tries an Osoto. Daniesca Carrion turns off it. No score from that one. That's a passivity warning against the Cuban girl there. That puts Nichilo-Rosso ahead by 3 points. Now the pressure on this newcomer, this new Cuban girl. And that's a spin over there. Looks like a Yuko for that score off the Uchimata. Of course, the referee makes the initial score, but the corner judges have to back him up. It's got to be a majority of the 3 scoring officials for a score to stick, as it were. French girl here got a leg trap. She's trying to settle in for the hold down. She's trying to katagatami, the shoulder hold, but she's got her leg trapped. And this very strong Cuban is trying very hard to keep that leg. Judge halts the action. And the crowd not liking that one. Well, it looked like that Nichilo-Rosso was just about to get her leg out, and that would have been the deciding hold down, the Osai Komi. Cuban coach, the big Cuban coach in the background, Ronaldo Vatia, as always, an act in his own right on the edge of the mat. And a leg grab attempt there, but Nichilo-Rosso rides that one, gets round the back. Carrion not looking too at home on the ground. Saw her nearly getting caught. Well, there's the scores. It's Nichilo-Rosso ahead by 1 Yuko, 1 5-point score, and 1 3-point score, 1 Koka. No score for the Cuban. And Nichilo-Rosso pulls her in, looking for an opening for the ground, but Cuban girl grabs her legs. No score off the ground for that one. So just over a minute to go of the 4 minutes fighting time that the women have. And of course get 5. And Nichilo-Rosso coming over the top there, looking for a high grip, as she'll be looking for with that inner thigh lift of hers, shaping up for it, turning sideways on. Tries a leg block there on the Cuban's girl, drops her down to the mat, face down, but no score for that. Got to land on the side or on the buttocks or on the back for any kind of score. Getting very tight on the time now. So France looks like it's heading for its first gold medal. If Nicola Rosso can keep this score as is. Of course, she's got to attack. Pasiphatis will get her penalised. So just over half a minute to go, and French girl locking in, legs round the trunk of the Cuban girl. But they break there. Not a lot of time is allowed on the ground for groundwork fighting. It's got to have an apparent immediate effect for the referees to let the fight continue down there. Seconds to go. And the Cuban girl swings in round on the left for a drop shoulder throw, but it's loose. There's not a lot of body contact on that one. And yet again, Sarah Nicola Rosso settles in on the ground. She looked like she's had her hands in position there for a strangle, but lost it. But it's very close to the edge there. Seconds to go, and that's it. Sarah Nicola Rosso of France takes the gold medal in the under 48 kilo final, placing the Cuban. Now there's the one that spun the Cuban girl over to give the Yuko score. Turns in, tries a shoulder throw, starts to spin. There you see the Cuban survives that one, very neatly survived. So France gets the gold, Cuba the silver, bronzes go to Dimitra of Romania and Hamano of Japan. Stay with us, we'll be back very shortly. Tournament and to the under 66 kilo final between Matsiev of Russia against Benjamin Darbelet of France. 5 minutes of fighting time. Frenchman in the blue suit. Darbelet, newcomer to this event. Matsiev, very strong competitor, second in Europe in '98. In fact, in that event he lost to Labi Bembou Daoud of France, who he beat in the semi-finals in this tournament. Bembou Daoud, of course, the reigning Olympic silver medalist, was the strong favourite to take this particular category, but got beaten by the Russian. So there we go, just not... now there's the... now the referee calls the yip on there, but the corner judges overrule him. Interesting to see actually how it happens there. Quite often we only see the half of the referee's hand on the screen, that is. So the Russian there getting a waza-ari for that Kataguruma, the shoulder wheel, the very low level wheel over his shoulder that he's renowned for. It's his strong technique. Hooks in there, tries an inside leg hook. Kochigari, that's the Russian there I'm talking about, in the white. Lively final between these two. Of course, the French fighting in front of a home crowd. Spurs them on, of course, as always. And the usual grip fighting, tying up of grips. And looks like we could have a passivity warning here. Yes, there it is. Frenchman gets a 3-point warning against. So the Russians ahead with a 7-point score, and also the 3-point warning transfers to his side. So the Frenchman warned for passivity, and that puts the Russian squarely ahead with that Kataguruma, that low-level Kataguruma. Well, the Frenchman's very active on the grips, pulling and pushing the Russian down, but the Russian's got this low-level attack, pushes his arms away, tries to get round the back, starts to drag him in, looking for the groundwork, but the referee stops the action there. Well, Darbelet of France has really got to open up a bit now. 7 points behind, not a comfortable position to be in. The Russian there opening up the movement. Slightly wrestling style there, that ankle pick attack on the Frenchman's leg, ankle grab. Well, the Russian likes this low-level bent-over fighting. We know he's got this deep dive under leg grab, which he then transfers into a wheel over the shoulder. But he's making all the running here. Now this Frenchman's going to get warned again for passivity. Whole series of attacks there by the Russian, with the Frenchman just hanging on. Just over 2 minutes to go. Well, despite the fact the Russians are well ahead, he's the one who's setting the pace on the attacks. That, of course, puts the pressure on the Frenchman. It's very sapping of energy. Drop through on the right there, an attempt at low shoulder throw by Matsiev. And this has got to be another passivity warning here against Darbelet of France. That's a familiar face. David Douillet there of France, twice Olympic champion. So that's another. Oh no, that was Keikoku. They in fact ratcheted it up to the 7-point warning, the Keikoku, and that combines with the 7-point score that Matsiev had already, and gave the gold to Russia, silver to France, and bronzes to Bemboudoir of France and Pina of Portugal. And on to our next fight. It's the under 73 kilo final, and it's between Daniel Fernandez of France in the blue suit there against Yongshin Choi of Korea. The Korean who placed 5th in the Sydney Olympics, and the Frenchman being relatively unknown, newcomer to this international level. Not newcomer in France, of course. They've got a very professional structure of competitions and levels of training. So to represent France in an event like this, he'd have had to fought his way through all those levels. So a bit of cut and run style of attacks here. Frenchman taking the grip and then not hanging on too long to it and then breaking away there. These fighters will get themselves penalised at this rate. You need 2 hands on a jacket to throw the man inside the jacket. So finally the Korean locks on, but this Fernandez, Daniel Fernandez of France, is an awkward gripper. Just 4 minutes to go of this 5-minute final. Very cut and run style here. Neither fighter are looking to get 2 strong hands on. See there, the Korean comes over, tries to get 2 hands on, or loses it almost immediately. Doesn't seem to be trying to hold on too strongly. Well, this looks as though this well could be the pattern for the fight. Just a lot of grip fighting and constant breaking of grips there. You see the grips being just smashed free by the Korean. Frenchman dropping underneath, trying that Russian style, Matsiev style Katagaruma. Low dive at the legs there, but blocked pretty firmly by Yongshin Choi. Korean looking for that high grip with his left hand over the back and round the Frenchman's neck, but as soon as he gets it there, the Frenchman breaks the grip. And the Frenchman himself countering with his left arm round the Korean's neck if he can get it, but this is very patchy, this is. They get the grip, they break the grip. Grip and break, grip and break. Well, that's a penalty against the Frenchman. That puts, gives 3 points to the Korean. Well, there's a lot of action, but it's got to be scoring action. You can't just break grips, that doesn't count. You've got to attack, and you've got to attack every 20 seconds or so. So it looks active, but it's not so dangerous, unless the actual score attempts go in the middle of all the grips. Korean there comes through on the left, tries an Uchimata inner thigh throw, drops on the ground, tries a rollover, tries to turn the Frenchman over into a hold, but is getting blocked fairly securely. So nothing in it at present, just the Korean, 3 points ahead. Still the same style, grip and run. And there's a left-sided or right-sided shoulder throw attempt there by a Frenchman. Moment of danger there for the Korean. It's the cleanest attempt at a throw we've seen so far. Now the Korean willing to mix it on the ground. Frenchman looks a little bit too strong. All he's got to do is hang in tight there for a few seconds and the referee will stand them up. Still very close. So the Korean ahead with 3 points on the basis of the precipitancy warning given against the Frenchman. And yet again, the Korean trying to mix it on the ground, but all his previous attempts haven't been very successful. I think he'd probably do better staying on his feet than mixing it on the ground, but still, the groundwork does give him a chance to waste a bit of time and look active. And if he's in the lead, it's all to the good. It's the Frenchman who doesn't want to mix it on the ground when he's behind on the points. Well, we've seen one reasonable shoulder throw attempt from Fernandez, and we've seen one good Uchimata attempt from the Korean, Choi. Look at this, that's very much sets the pattern, shows the style of this event. The Korean turned in for a throw there and his hands just fell away as if he wasn't even bothering to hold on. So a little time out here as they patch up a little bit of bleeding. Well, this is very close. And in fact, the scores have been levelled up. They're both, there was a passivity also given to Choi, so it's 3 points each, and under a minute to go in this under 73 kilo final. And the Frenchman there with his arm round the waist tries a wrestling roll there, but doesn't get any score for it, just on the edge of the mat, and went outside the area, so it's neck and neck. 3 points each. Almost certainly, and there's another left-sided shoulder throw attempt by the Frenchman. He's revving it up a bit now. He's got to get that final score just in the closing seconds of this match. Well, they certainly fit, these two, even if they haven't got a lot of judo throws to chuck in the middle of it all. So it's looks like it's going to go to a decision. If the scores are even at the end, it will be the corner judges and the referee who decide amongst them who the winner's going to be. Well, it's getting lively there, another rollover attempt there, and the judge there, the referee rather, calling that a Koka, but no, not confirmed. And 18 seconds to go, and a fake attack there. Now that goes against the Frenchman, so that puts the Choi of Korea ahead just in the closing seconds. 16 seconds to go, and the crowd are urging their compatriot on, and he's certainly piling on the pressure there. Korean hanging on just marginally ahead, 5 points to 3 points. Choi of Korea with 5 points, Daniel Fernandez of France with 3, and there's a dive at the legs there, and the referee stops that. Is this going to be a penalty against Choi in the closing seconds? Yeah, fake attack for the Korean, so that levels it up. So here we are, almost no time to go at all. In fact, it's time up in the closing seconds of the match. It's leveled up, and so it's going to be a Hante, a decision, a majority decision of the 3. And it's the Frenchman gets it. Well, that certainly pleased the home crowd. So France gets the gold, Korea gets the silver, Sturbin of Uzbekistan gets the bronze, and Messina of France the bronze. Stay with us. Of the men's under 90 kilo category. But again, another Frenchman in the final, and it's between Tobitsuka of Japan and Frédéric de Montfaucon of France. Frenchman in the blue suit and Tobitsuka of Japan in the white suit. Not a lot of form to the Japanese. He placed 3rd in the Asian Championships in 2000. De Montfaucon was 3rd in the Olympic Games, got a bronze, and 5th in the world in 95. So he's been around a bit. So the opening action there, and a rollover at the edge. And then as they go over that red danger area, of course the action stops. Tobutska been doing rather well earlier on, beat Morozov of Russia and Karabeta of France. Looking quite crisp and clean, coming through on the right there with an Osodagari, gets towards Ari for that one. Hooks his leg round now, settling in for Anosai Komi. But the Frenchman chucks his leg over the top there, starts to tie up the Japanese's arm there. That's a controlling move, and now he's going to try and swivel round and try and edge the Japanese over onto his back. But as you can see, the referees don't allow a lot of time on the ground. That one could have developed possibly. So Japanese there ahead with the Wazari, and the referee there calls it a Nippon. Crowd don't like it, neither do the corner judges, so he has to wave that one away. So on the clock, just one 7-point score. Wazari's score for the Japanese with that Osodagari, the outside leg sweep, or outside leg reap. It was quite interesting to see French and Japanese fight. Japanese often quite traditional, orthodox fighters, upright, straight, looking for the big throw. Frenchman more sticky, more muscular.